We sweeten the sausages up on the sauce up by caramelizing them. Get various spices, key ones being orange peel and lemon peel, aniseed, Italian seasoning, garlic of course, but we put fresh garlic in there too. And then we got the sauce over here, which hasn't been cooked yet, but it's got the vegetables and some of the tomato in it, olive, celery, and pepper medley. Those are frozen. We stir those in there. The anchovies, of course, on the side, because some people are whiners. And we keep all the vegetables. You can see they're really big. That's because we got some kids that don't like certain things like onions or mushrooms or whatever. So I leave them big enough that they can pitch them out if they don't like them. And I'm going to have to let this go for a second because the sausages are getting caramelized. Anyway, that's how we started. As you can see here, we have some nicely caramelized sausages. In this particular case, I have half bratwurst and half mild Italian sausage. That seems to be a good combination for when you have kids that are going to be eating it. Personally, I like it with a little bit more exotic sausage in there. Some good Italian sausage. The bratwurst is fine, but a small amount of it. But I like all different kinds in there. Maybe some mild, maybe some really hot and spicy. Just, experiment. Mix it up a little bit. I even like a little bit of hamburger or a good sausage in there. The key to putting meats, I believe, in your spaghetti sauce is to render the fat out of them as much as possible first, so that you're not getting that in your sauce. This here is just hamburger. It's a good, nice, lean hamburger, which is just about ready. I'm going to drain it off here in a bit. And ultimately, my spices, I like to cook them in a good olive oil, just for a couple minutes. And the reason for that, of course, is the oil seems to hold the spice flavor much longer, and it distributes it evenly throughout the sauce. I'll do that and add it into my sauce in a little bit here. And then the garnish, again, in this particular case, will be some anchovies if people want that. And Parmesan cheese, of course, that's a must. But anyway, the spices that I like to use is a little bit of Worcestershire. Anise is really a good spice if used judiciously in there. It puts kind of a mysterious flavor to it. The orange peels and the zest from lemons it puts a different dimension to it as well. And cheap Italian seasoning here, because I really don't care that much about the Italian seasoning, because I cheat with my sauce. I used to make it with, cook it down from tomatoes, aromas, and whatnot. But anymore, it's just, I'm getting old and lazy, and it's just too convenient. Did you notice my garbage there? I have quite a mess. I cheat. I like to use a few different brands of tomato or prepared sauce, and then I'll dump tomatoes and whatnot in there as need be. There's some Italian chunky, and back there we got some Paul Newman's roasted garlic back there that it may or may not hit the pot today, but anyway, that's kind of how I put it together. And then once it's all incorporated together into the big pot, then I'll simmer it for a few hours before serving. In this case, we were not going to serve it till tomorrow. But at any rate, I just can't seem to stay away from that garbage. But isn't that lovely? But Anyway, spaghetti. Well, we went ahead and put the meat inside the, as of yet, unsimmered, uncooked vegetable sauce and the tomato sauce in there. Again, we rendered the sausages and the hamburger pretty good, so I just a few minutes ago I sprinkled some pretty liberal dose of the virgin olive oil, and when the garlic gets here from the store, since the prep shopper, that would be me, didn't bother to look to see if I had any garlic. At any rate, when it arrives, we'll be sauteing some of that in some more virgin olive oil, and then we'll add that at the last. This will be the spicing. I'm going to go ahead and get some Worcestershire, that sauce anyway, with the funny name, and we'll go ahead and put a goodly amount to start with in there. We may adjust that as we go along tasting. As far as the other spices go here, I have some garlic powder, but not a real big fan of that stuff. Kind of tends to be bitter, and this is a lot of work to go through to Costco down with the garlic. Anyway, the aniseed I find to be pretty indispensable, and we'll start out with a good amount of that too to start with. Again, there'll probably be some of that in when we saute the garlic in there. The orange peel, it's kind of hard to hold the camera and get the lid off at the same time. I'm probably going to end up dumping it all on the floor. But anyway, we'll put another good dash of that to start with. And a lemon peel, we don't want to go quite as strong with that, mainly because I've noticed that this lemon peel here tends to be a bit bitter, and I don't like adding sugars to my sauce if I can avoid it. The Italian seasoning this is really cheap stuff. It's unlike your professional chefs. I don't grow it in the kitchen. About the only thing I got grown in the kitchen we don't want in the sauce. So anyway, we'll have some of this here. And remember, again, we got a lot of these spices are in the store-bought tomato or spaghetti sauce, so-called spaghetti sauce, that I started with. Now, these need to be kind of crushed up a little bit. And sometimes there's just no tools like the ones the good Lord gives you. And I've found that for crushing up the aniseed and these, oh boy, it's really getting to smell really good. And this is we'll probably put an equal amount as we go along and get nearer to the finish time on the sauce, because a lot of the, oh my goodness, mamma mia, a lot of these spices tend to cook out as you go along. Now, I've got this on really low heat, and there's a reason for that. The reason being that there's a whole lot of meat, and there's a whole lot of ingredients in here that the vegetables need to kind of cook down a little bit and release their juices into the sauce. And as they do that, it of course will get a lot runnier. So it needs to be started out on real low heat so that it doesn't scald stuff on the bottom and burning and whatnot, and the obvious. So what we'll do is we'll put that lid on there for a while, and I'm getting really good at this one-handed stuff. But anyway, we'll get back to this in a little bit, and you won't be able to smell it, but I will. We're back to the pot here. It hasn't started cooking yet. a few minutes ago I spiced it. I just thought of a couple things I'd like to add. You'll notice that there's black olives in here. I buy the canned ones that are already pitted, of course, and some of the juice from the olives I used about a third to a half a can, and I poured that in with my sausage when I was caramelizing it, and let it completely render down or completely boil off, and help caramelize as it thickened, it helped caramelize the sausages. I also put a little bit of the juice in here, not a whole lot because it tends to be salty, but some of it. And again, I use canned mushrooms. I like to use fresh mushrooms, but tonight we use canned mushrooms. So to capture some of that flavor that would otherwise be lost, I took a little bit of it and poured it in the sauce as well. Again, you don't want to use a whole lot of it because it does have a high salt content in it, but it does help to richen and embolden the flavor of the sauce. At any rate, okay, that was it. We'll get back to this when it's bubbled or I get bored. Bubbled for a while or I get bored for a minute.